Inside the Birds is back. What's going on, everybody? It's Geoff Mosher, Adam Caplan, a midweek Inside the Birds, a tape breakdown of the Eagles' loss to the 49ers on Sunday, 17-11. Definitely a lower scoring game than I thought, probably more in the ballpark that Adam does. He likes to pick the low scoring games. I like to pick the high scoring games. That's the way it goes. Usually we're usually one of us is right, but we got the wrong winner. You know, it's like we can never get it right on the nose. But so we've got good stuff. I know you've, Adam, talked to some sources. I've talked to some sources. I think we have some really interesting observations that will be unique because I've been listening out there, seeing what people are saying, and I think we've got some stuff that we can add to whether it's play calling or decision making or things even on defense that we'll get into. So look forward to breaking that down. I want to make an announcement about our big weekend that we've got coming up on Sunday. Adam and I are going to be in Fishtown at a block party right in front of Evil Genius Beer Company. They're helping sponsor the event, the Fishtown BID putting this thing on. There's going to be a big festival going on. It's called their Dallas block party because everybody's going to vent their frustrations on Dallas. Now, Adam and I and our special guest, Quentin Michael, from the Q&A show on Inside the Birds, are going to be there to record a special in-person ITB TV episode, and we'll break down the game against Dallas that comes up Monday night. And, of course, we'll get into some of Quentin's favorite memories against the Cowboys and, the whole culture of hating the Cowboys in Philadelphia we'll take some questions from the crowd. That'll be fun. Give away some prizes, some merch. Adam, there's going to be axe throwing there, inflatables, food trucks, beer. It's going to be an awesome festival. So I hope everybody comes and checks us out. Again, I believe it's on Front Street. It's at that intersection of Frankfurt and I forget the cross section, but it's in Fishtown. You can Google Evil Genius on your, whatever you use GPS wise to get there and come see us. It's going to be a fun time.
Yeah, we had our draft show there, our pre-draft show there. That was it pre-draft? Right?
It was the pre-draft, the night of the draft, first round draft preview show. Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. Great location, right in Fishtown, literally right off Delaware Avenue. Easy for me to find. I don't live close there, but it was easy for me to find it. So looking forward to that, man. Yeah, Q will be with us. That'll be great. And look, it's less than 24 hours before the Dallas game, man. It's just, and the fact that the division is what it is. Look, the winner could be in first place.
Too early.
Yeah,
but it's a big game. It's definitely a big game because Dallas is 1-1, coming off an impressive win. Eagles are 1-1, and I buried the lead. I forgot to give the time. We'll be there from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. So 2 hours of Adam Caplan, Geoff Mosher, and Quentin Michael doing some special ITB work in a live show environment, which I'm really excited about. We like to do those, and it's nice to be able to be outside. The weather is supposed to be great, so everybody pray that the sunshine stays and we get no rain. And as Adam mentioned, kind of right there in the heart of Fishtown, the L train comes by every once in a while, so it gives it some nice city feel, and it's going to be a great time. Looking forward to that. And then, of course, our pregame show, which we all know had some technical issues this past week, will be Monday night from 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock p.m.
Oh, 5. Oh, yeah. It is 5.
Because it's an 8 o'clock game. So we'll do 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock p.m. So make sure you are tuned in to Inside the Birds at that time. And it'll be, of course, myself, Adam, Jason Avant, Greg Cosell, and we'll get an appearance on the show in a segment with Quentin Michael called Q's Views. Looking forward to that. And, of course, the Q&A show with Quentin Michael and Jason Avant will drop Thursday morning, 6 a.m. And I already can tell you, I can give you a little foreshadowing. Okay. They're pretty fired up about some things that went on in the game. So those are level-headed guys. They did a good job of explaining it, but they got a little, an offensive guy and a defensive guy are going to get fired up about different things that happened in the game from an offensive and a defensive perspective, and you're getting the best of both worlds there with Q&A. So that'll be
look forward to that. Thursday. By the way, the early forecast for Sunday for our little block party there is low 70s and beautiful. Woohoo!
It's like they knew we were coming.
Yeah. They didn't bake a cake, though. No.
If I knew you were coming, I'd have baked you a cake. All right.
Right.
let's get into this game a little bit. Of course, as we always do, to remind you, don't be a loser. Don't pay full retail price for things that you want. Just go to DealDash.com or the Deal Dash app. When you register, use the promo code ITB for a special offer for bonus free bids. That's promo code ITB for a special offer for bonus free bids when you register on the Deal Dash app or DealDash.com. So obviously, before we get into the tape breakdown, we've got to go through some of the transactions that have transpired over the last few days. The first one being the tight end Zach Ertz going on the reserve COVID-19 list. Now, as I understand it, he's feeling well. He is not feeling symptoms, I've been told by someone close to the situation. Yeah. So he's feeling good. Now, Adam, go through the rules for people then on if you're vaccinated and you're feeling well.
Yeah. So, by the way, he did it on the NFL's personnel notice, which all the teams get. It did. This year they're doing it. They're actually listing, if you go on the COVID list, what is the reason? So he tested positive, but as you just said, I feels fine. Which is, remember, it was who was the player who Alex Singleton, right? He tested positive. He said he had no symptoms.
Right. I mean, he had a run laps in his hallway. He was feeling good enough to do that just to stay conditioned and in shape. So yeah, Alex Singleton was up, but it took him a while, I think, to get that negative test in. This is the inexact science of it all, right? Because Alex Singleton was the last of the three, if I'm not mistaken, to be back off the COVID list.
Right. I don't. That was a weird deal. Yeah, that was very strange. To be honest with you, the way that thing went down. So
he has to test positive within 5 days of testing negative to be able, right? I'm sorry. Yes, that's what I mean. He has to test negative within 5 days of his positive test. So they announced it. I'm trying to do the math here. They announced it on Monday.
Yeah.
Which means he might have tested on Sunday. We don't know. Could have been after the game, or would have had to have been Monday.
I would have think it would have been Monday. Okay. So look, he needs 2 negative tests within 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Look, well, gosh, I don't have a feel for. Look, you can't say whether he's going to pass it or not. I mean, it's.
No, but what we can say is, what's the earliest he can be back? It would be if you test negative on Tuesday and Wednesday, can you be back, or do you have to be out 5 days minimum?
The rule is that to rejoin the team, you have to remain symptom-free and have 2 negative tests within 24 hours apart. You could. I think you literally could. If I recall correctly, I read the language a couple weeks ago. I just remember that within 24 hours, if you have 2 negative tests within 24 hours, you could return. So you have to be. Yeah, you have to. So let me look at the other stuff here.
All right. So, obviously the Eagles, as you look through that, they sort of catch a break from a scheduling standpoint because they don't even start practicing until Thursday. Ordinarily, you would reconvene on Wednesday for a Sunday game. Mm-hmm. They're going to reconvene Thursday to play a Monday game. They'll practice Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, basically have a light or be off on Sunday, and then play Monday night. So they get kind of an extra day there, and that helps in a situation like
this.
Correct.
Okay, so this is correct. So vaccinated players must test negative twice within 24 hours. Okay. So if they do, they could come back. Now, that unvaccinated players, they have different rules. That's 5 days of you have to isolate, and then you got to have negative tests. It's much harder to come back if you're unvaccinated.
Right.
Even if you're asymptomatic, you've got to isolate for 10 days if you test positive. Okay. So if you're an unvaccinated player, and they want to make it so punitive for the unvaccinated players. Yeah. NFLPA, by the way, agree to this stuff. So
right
now, here's the other problem, which so far it's early Wednesday morning. You want to make sure, obviously, you have the close contacts. Now, so far, through Tuesday's transactions, I looked at the personnel notice. There were no Eagles were on there to go on the list, to go on the reserve COVID list, at all. So that's a good thing that they don't think anyone's a close contact. So
that is interesting.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
I
here's the
thought
thing: you have to be on, right? Because do you have to announce it to the public though, or could
no, but
guys
you
be on
have
the
to.
list and not be, and the public doesn't know?
You have to know. You have to announce anytime a player goes on the reserve COVID list. It must be announced. You don't have to. You do not have to say what if they failed or not. You don't have to give that information out. It
But what
just so
about close
happened.
contacts? How does that work? If you just think someone's a
They,
close contact?
if they suspect that they are, they go on the reserve COVID list,
Oh,
and then they
okay.
have to get the negative test.
All right. Well, I guess this is good. I just remember
Yeah.
last year, Adam, we reported first during 1 week that John Hightower and another receiver had tested positive and were going to be out. And then you heard nothing after that. But then all of a sudden, if you remember the day before the game, we found out Jeremiah Washburn or some other coaches, I believe, also were not able to coach in that game for COVID-related reasons. So it was just weird how that just came out right before the game, but there was nothing announced for the week. So I didn't know if there was a way to, if it's close contacts that they don't tell the public. I don't know.
No,
It's
but they
all-
have
it's all
to.
very
If they
blurry.
go on the list, it must be announced. But you do
Right,
not
if they
have
go
to
on the
by league
list,
rule.
right.
They're not supposed to say where the guy tested positive or not. That's supposed to be kept private.
Right.
Almost always gets out, and reporters, a lot of us have access to that personnel notice. You could look at it, and this year they're listing on the bottom of it, and that's So you know that Zach is feeling good. That's good news. I didn't know that. Great.
Yeah,
Awesome.
it's my understanding he's also vaccinated too. So
Yeah, that I know, but that's
Yeah.
good that he feels fine, that he's asymptomatic. So that's really good news.
That's what I was told. All right, that is good news. As far as other transactions, obviously Brandon Brooks goes on IR with the pec strain, and defensive end Brandon Graham goes on IR with the torn Achilles. He's going to need surgery on that. As far as Brandon Brooks, I don't think they said whether it's long-term or short-term IR. Did they specify?
Brooks, I believe it's. See, the thing is, I think the long term is a minimum of six games.
Mm-hmm.
This is the last time I looked at that rule was a year ago, because ironically it was when Ertz had the high ankle sprain, and remember we were trying to fit, because remember there were rumors about him being traded, and I had to find out what the rules were on this, because there were so many, as you know, last year the rules were changed dramatically for we never had a COVID list before. Though someone in the league told me that they always had long-term and short-term. You had to put that when you turned the transaction in. Mm-hmm. Even when it was season ending, they just wanted to know whether you weren't cheating, like you were like not putting guy. If a guy had, let's say, a sprained ankle, they didn't really want them to put the player on there. If it was guy's going to be back, could have been back in 2 weeks, right? Because there was no leeway. If you went on IR, you were out for the whole season. Then, as you know, they changed the rule, so that was good.
Yeah. Okay. So it's our understanding. I feel like Brooks is going to be back this year as long as he has no setbacks. Correct? He's not out for the year.
Yeah. He's got a pectoral strain, and those are generally. I know it could vary. Somewhere in the 4 to 6 week situation. Then remember we had you'd reported last year on Javon Hargrave, and it was at least 6 weeks for him.
Yes, it was 6 weeks. Then, of course, he came back with the hammy issue, and then after that, he was a slow starter. So yeah, we'll have to see how well conditioned Brandon Brooks is when he gets back from the injury.
Right. Oh, just the other note I left out on the. I knew there was something else. Yeah, it was 24 hours apart for the 2 negative tests, but you have to have no symptoms for 48 hours. And that's what they came, that's the rule. And I've had friends who've had it, sometimes it could just come up, with this virus. It just could come up when you're feeling great, out of nowhere, it just hits you. Yeah. And that's why they want to make sure that whoever had, even if you don't think you have it, you got to be asymptomatic for 48 hours and plus have 2 negative tests within 24 hours. That's the rule.
Right. All right, so we'll get more information as the week goes on. Yeah. So obviously, with the Eagles made a move on the practice squad, they brought in another offensive lineman, and his name is Jack Anderson. They signed him from the Bills practice squad, I should say. So is he on the 53? Did they sign him?
Yeah. I'm
shocked by that. Are you surprised a little bit? I mean, they had their own guys on the
I
practice squad.
was until I checked into why.
Okay.
Apparently his preseason tape was really good, and so much so that my Bill source said to me it was like he was one of the guys who were like, should we do this? Should we not? Should we cut him? Should we take the risk? And they took a risk that he wouldn't get claimed, and he wasn't. And he also has done well in their practice squad so far. So obviously the Eagles liked him enough to bring him in. He was a 7th-round pick out of Texas Tech. He's built like a guard. He's 6'4" plus. Doesn't have long arms, which you'd like to have, whether you're a guard or a tackle. But apparently the Bills liked him enough, but they didn't protect him though. So hey, he can only protect 4 players per week. They didn't protect him. The Eagles signed him, and they might have found someone here to develop, because I can tell you the Bills felt highly of this guy enough that they want him on the practice squad. So who knows? We'll see what happens, but he's going to have to develop on their 53, though. As you see, I know you're alluding to this. I mean, you put him on your 53, theoretically, because Brooks is now on injured reserve. Herbig now is your top backup interior lineman. I mean, this guy, at some point could dress. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, the Eagles never cease to amaze me. I always give them credit for this. They are constantly looking to fortify their offensive line. And just when you think they've got plenty of depth, I mean, they'll get Driscoll back at some point. I mean, they've got Opeta on the practice squad. They have who else? I know they released Pierschbacher, didn't they?
Yeah, he's with another team.
Right.
Woshika, who they didn't protect this time.
Woshika, yeah, exactly.
Harry Kreider's cut off the practice squad.
But then he was re-signed, was he? Oh, no, he was cut again. You're right.
Yes. So that's that. And their protections were the aforementioned Opeta, Marvin Wilson again, Craig James again, Elijah Riley again. I failed to mention this last time. There is no limit to how many times you can protect a player.
Okay, I did not realize that. Well, doesn't that make it even more head-scratching that they didn't no, you said protect, not elevate, though, right?
Right. Elevations, you only have 2, but
okay. All right.
Protection.
Well, that's why they have protected area. Well, it's funny because they're spreading around their protections, too. You would have thought that they were doing that because you couldn't protect guys a certain number of times, but no, they're just playing a little protection tango.
Yeah, you can only do 4. So this week, Oshika was not. Riley, James, and Wilson were protected again. They love this Elijah Riley. They clearly think he could contribute down the road.
Right.
And this is a guy they feel good about. And Craig James is a guy, look, if the guy could just stay healthy, he could help him again. This is a guy they've liked, that they found.
Yep.
And, I know that Gannon said he was not with him in Minnesota, but obviously he knows the scheme.
Right.
And Wilson's a kid that had some maturity issues, but he's a pretty gifted kid, and here's a guy you could develop. A
very interesting practice squad now that you've got Richard Rodgers on it, and we'll see what that means with Zach Ertz, if that was a kind of an insurance signing for the tight end group there, maybe just making sure everything's fortified and with the COVID going on there, and we'll see what happens going forward. So that's the transactions for the Eagles. I didn't miss any, right? Harry Kreider is gone. I know that's your guy.
Just love the name. It's all about Harry. Find a lot of Harry.
Gotta let Harry. If nothing says football guy like Harry Kreider, right?
Right. Or a bartender,
Exactly. All right. Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Please use that promo code ITB to receive $150 in free bets instantly when you place a $1 bet on any football game. That's promo code ITB to get $150 in free bets using the promo code ITB on the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app. And as we've been telling you, if you want to get an advantage over your sportsbook, download BetQL. It's the only app you'll need to make smart bets. Their best bet computer model scans over 350,000 unique bets per year to give you the best bet recommendation for every game across all major sports. And you can't have enough information to place your bets and the reasoning on why you should. Their model covers everything from spreads to over-unders and player prop bets. If you don't want to use the model, you like to do the research yourself, BetQL's got the necessary tools for your betting research needs. They've got sharp data, line movement, team summaries, lineup and injury breaking news. even a leaderboards to track your success. So head to the App Store or the Google Play Store now, download BetQL. You can also head to try.betql.co/ITB to get started now and enter the discount code ITB at payment checkout for 25% off a subscription offering. All right, so check out their sportsbook offers page if you live in one of the eligible states to claim free offers upon signing at any one of the many sportsbooks listed. Don't miss out on the chance to beat your sportsbook this fall season using BetQL. All right, let us talk first about the offense. And you and I have hit up our people. We've gotten some good feedback. Before we get into an individual player, why don't we discuss just the offense itself, Adam? A lot of people, we talked about it on Monday night on our show at the Fanatic, 6 to 8 p.m., that play calling, putting players in position to succeed, things of that stuff that goes beyond individual effort, but coaching and strategy certainly was a lot different against the Niners than it was against the Atlanta Falcons. So give me something that stood out that you gleaned in talking to people.
Yeah, one guy said to me, it was almost like Sirianni's like, okay, we couldn't throw it deep last time because there really were not any opportunities. It was almost as though it didn't matter what the coverage was. They were going deep. I think it was 7 shot plays, 7 more throws of more than 20 yards, which is a lot. 3 in the first quarter. They hit, obviously, the big one, which is beautiful, which is about as good of a throw and catch from Hurts to Watkins, the 91-yarder. As we know, it did finish terribly without a touchdown. But what Hurts did, though, on the first one to Smith, he just did not he rolled. They had him roll out, which is the design of the play.
Right.
You got to square your shoulders like he did on the great one. Square your shoulders, and you got to rotate, and you got to get torque. Deep throws are generally more about touch than arm strength. Though I will tell you that the one to Watkins absolutely was arm strength. That was just an awesome throw.
Yeah,
this one,
both.
the first one to Smith was not. He was not in balance. He didn't drive it correctly. He just was not squared up. Hip rotation was not good. That's why he was short. See, here's the thing. It's not that he can't do it. You got to have the proper mechanics, and he was not properly mechanically lined up on.
Well, remember
that
that's play action, right? He was kind of coming around and then climbing the pocket before he made the throw. So I guess what you look for going forward is when his feet are moving like that and he's not square, which is going to be with a quarterback who can move, you're going to design rollouts and deep passes off that. Is he able to put enough torque on it while he's moving? Like, can he churn the feet, stop, and plant, or like an Aaron Rodgers, and I know that's an extreme example, or even a Lamar Jackson. Those guys have such amazing arm strength that they can throw really deep, accurate passes without their feet being set. Did you see the pass Lamar threw, the jump side pass to Marquise Brown?
I'm watching that game, and I'm thinking, and I've mentioned this before in Fios, you could replay it. So I replayed that 4 times. I was just like, what did he just do? It's unbelievable.
It was like a video game.
It was awesome.
Crazy.
Yeah, it was awesome. But getting back to this, you make a good point because he can't afford, he's just not as a gifted thrower as Mahomes or some of the other guys are very bendy. And Rodgers could flick it. Like he could just turn his body and flick it. He can't do that yet, or he may never be able to do it. We're talking about Hurts. So he's got to be properly aligned. He clearly was not. Yeah. I just thought the approach was, I didn't realize this one guy said he thought that, I guess he watched the tape on Monday or Tuesday. He must have graded it himself. He said, I counted 7 shot plays. I'm like, wow, that many, huh? I thought there were like 4 or 5, but 3 in the first quarter. His base needs to be better. It wasn't just on those throws. Hurts also moved when he didn't need to. The positive, though, about him running, one person said to me, super instinctive as a runner. He'll only run when he absolutely knows he's got an alley, and he hits it. And it's sometimes a vertical run, sometimes to the side. He ran very well. I mean, he seems to know then he could get it when he can get the yardage, but he clearly should have stayed. I didn't count because I wasn't watching the coaching tape. The guys that I talked to said there's some times he shouldn't have run.
Mm-hmm.
or we should just let the play develop a little bit more. And that's going to come. This is the good thing about all of this. The critical tape study of the people we speak with, it's all correctable. It's not something he can't do. And I also don't think Sirianni, let's get to him. I don't think he really helped, not just them or the quarterback. I just thought that this is Sirianni. One guy said to me it was a grab bag game. It was so random, some of the stuff that he was doing. It's like, okay, let's go deep. And then we'll do some RPOs. There just wasn't anything. It just was like grab baggy. I don't know what else to say. I don't think Sirianni definitely regrets as a play caller in terms of one game to the next. Not that he's not good at it. It just seems like a guy who's new to this, and that's what showed in this game.
So one thing that was interesting, I saw the next gen stats came out, and after 2 weeks, 66% of Jalen Hurts' throws. And I don't know if this is just this is not to me a Jalen Hurts commentary. It's just the offense and play design as well. 66% of his throws beyond the line of scrimmage have gone to the right side of the field. And I think one of the big critiques of the blueprint against the Niners was that there was not enough middle of the field, tight end usage, running back usage. Now, I would say that the 49ers and D'Amico Ryans do a very good job of showing blitz a lot, but then backing everybody off, only rushing 4, maybe 5 at the most, and covering the middle of the field. But the Eagles do that too, and teams can move the ball on them through the middle at times. So, like, you've got a tight end. You've got 2 really good ones. You can use them between the 20s. You can have your running backs line up in the slot, run slants. I felt like the middle of the field, for whatever reason, and maybe even against Atlanta, as the next-gen stats show, just is not an area that they're consistently attacking despite having some pretty good weaponry. And one of the most important things, Adam, I thought Nick Sirianni said on Monday in his press conference, which shows me that, yes, he may have had a bad game, but he understands how to fix it moving forward, is that he's got to remember his old mantra of players, 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 not plays, plays, plays. So
Correct.
If you're on that list, okay, Devontae Smith, you want to get the ball to him. They certainly tried in that game to do it. But then number 2 has got to be Dallas Goedert at times. It's got to be Miles Sanders in the passing game, in the screen game at times. You've got those are your two best players after Devontae Smith. And to be honest, Devontae Smith's a rookie who's still learning himself. Goddard and Miles have been in this game for a little bit here, so the ball has to go to them more.
Yeah, in fact, when I watched the TV copy again, then I watched the condensed version on NFL.com because they didn't have the coaching tape up. And again, one of the guys told me, he goes, "You can see this." He goes, "You don't need the all 22 to see this." Is that there's some because the guy, one of the advanced guys watched the Eagles TV copy Sunday night, maybe. I guess he must have taped it. They said you could clearly see there were some plays where Hurts should have thrown the ball over the middle. He said there weren't a lot, but there were some to Goddard. There was actually one on the deep over route to Smith, which had no chance of being completed. He thought he could complete it, but by the time they got the ball there was no way it was going to happen. Goddard was open for the first down. Was that a third down play? I don't. It
was a third down play. I have this written down. Because now we're on Hurts a little bit. He was absolutely wide open. Yeah. That's kind of one of our critiques on Carson Wentz, right? Where you're trying to be the hero and make the ball 20 yards downfield when there is a wide open check down near the first down marker. And so you saw an example of that. And that to me is more decision making, right? And that's why we said the other day, when I watched the game, I didn't see a wildly inaccurate. I mean, if you see a guy complete 12 of 22 or whatever he was, you think, oh God, he must have been sailing the ball all over the place. No, it's not at all. He forced the ball sometimes, like that play you're talking about. But there's another play, for example, where I think people have seen this now a couple of times. He rolls to the left on a third down, and it's kind of a levels concept where Goddard is the primary target and Smith is beyond the first down marker. And he went and threw the ball while rolling to his left. He threw it to Devontae Smith. The pass got batted. Goddard was the guy. I mean, Goddard had more than a step, probably 2 steps on the defense. He was going to get the first down because if you just flick it to him, he turns and runs upfield, and he's probably going to put a shoulder into the defensive back who's guarding him. So, and plus you're rolling to your left, so you have to anticipate that
tough throw.
That's a tough throw on the left side to get all your torque into. But that's not an inaccuracy thing. It's not an incapable thing. It's just more of a decision-making thing. And the last thing that stuck out to me, did some homework on this too. I think we talked about it Monday night on the Fanatic. There was a 3rd and 6 where he handed the ball off to Miles Sanders, and it seemed at the time like a conservative play call by Nick Sirianni. Yeah. That's not Nick. That was an RPO. If you watch the play, you'll see that the wide receivers were running pass routes. If it was a running play, they would have been trying to block, but they were running pass routes. And the 49ers on 3rd down were coming after Jalen. And for whatever reason, and you'd have to, hopefully he'll get asked this week, and you'd have to be inside his head to know why he decided to hand the ball off when the box was stacked and he had one-on-one coverage on the outside on 3rd and 6. I don't know. Maybe it was just a momentary brain fart, or maybe he forgot the down and distance at that time. Who knows? But you shouldn't have handed the ball off on an RPO on 3rd and 6 against a 7-man front.
I agree. The option pitch was an awesome play, by the way. That was an awesome play. Was it the first half, I think? Maybe the first quarter. Yes. It was beautiful. Oh, and he hit, and Hurts held it so long, and then we waited till the defender, to come up, and he pitched it. Was it to Sanders, maybe? Does that sound right?
Yeah, I believe it was Sanders.
It was just absolutely beautiful. This is, one of the guys gave me this quote was really strong against Sirianni's play calling. And this quote that I got reminded me, it actually reminded me of when Frank Reich, though he had called plays before, he called the Dallas game in 2017 after they clinched, and they got shut out. He didn't call a good game, but he didn't get a lot of help because they didn't have a lot of juice for the game because they had stuff clinched. It just seemed like very random with the play calling, and I don't think he really helped the players all that much in this game. Some was on Hurts there were some throws we weren't aware of that a couple guys told me about that he should have pulled the trigger and he didn't, to Smith sometimes. But overall, though, I would expect Sirianni to be better because I picked up what just like you did. Absolutely is about player. He came in about plays and not players in this game. It's very clear. One of my strongest tape sources said to me, it was so clear. They was coming in, we're throwing the ball downfield.
Right. We're testing these corners. Right.
Yeah, exactly. Some almost like Hail Marys had no chance of being completed. But we're calling this play because we know that Josh Norman can't run. He's 33 years old. He hasn't played good ball in years. We're just going to go after him. Okay, you got him a couple times, but you just forced it. And that I'm really glad that he said that. But you know what? We'll learn a lot about Sirianni. How much he improves after a game like this. How good is he on Monday night against Dallas?
Yeah, and by the way, the 4th down call, which has become the talk of the town, right? The Philly botched modified version of the Philly special. Yeah. 3rd and goal is the play where he keeps it to the right, and there's really not – it looks like there's only one option on that play that's covered up, but there's a shovel pass to Zach Ertz built into that play that Jalen didn't throw. So, again, I'd like to hear from them on why he didn't pitch it. Was there too much traffic? Was he worried about it? Because it looked to me, when you watch it on tape, it looked like it's there. The play is there, and the pitch to Zach Ertz is there. And, maybe he thought Zach would have got stood up. But to go, I have no idea. But I'm just saying it looked like that was the design of the play. And for whatever reason, Jalen decided to do something different with the football. That didn't work. Why don't we talk about the offensive line? What did you glean about the O-line?
I would translate the information I have as good, not great. Some individual breakdowns. Dickerson looked like a guy, as one person said, that had been out a while or it just was not totally sharp. Had some really nice plays. Had some where his timing was off, hand usage was off. Looked like a guy who just was coming back from something. Well, he had no offseason, no preseason, and no training camp. So, of course, he's not going to be perfect. Like that's what you would expect. Right. Mailata had, one person said to me, 3 or 4 plays where the technique could have been better. Held his own for the most part against Bosa. Did a good job. He was solid. He was not as flawless in this game, according to the one person, as he was against Atlanta, where he just was remarkable, but wasn't really tested like he was in this game whenever Bosa was on him. So he was good. They had some plays where they were blown up, and that Niner front 4, man, is stout, man. They don't give you a lot. They may not be the biggest pressure defense from a front 4 because though they're playing the wide 9 under Chris Kusarik, who's Jim Schwartz's guy, but I'll tell you, this line's going to be good, even without Brooks. Once Dickerson gets up to speed, I don't know how long it's going to take. I think they're going to be fine. Mm-hmm. Obviously, in the short term, they're not going to be great with Dickerson there until he gets his feet wet. This is another level for him. The players at this level are way better than he faced in college, and it's going to take him time. But apparently, he's super smart, incredibly competitive, cares, everything that you want. He's just been he was rehabbing up till last couple weeks. So that's where he's at.
I think that's a really good call about what you said about the D line. They remind me of. They're so lunch pail. They almost remind me of a Rod Marinelli defensive line in that they don't play to their name. Like an Arden Key, people don't know who he is. The kid whose last name is Street is not a household
Katavi
name.
Street. Yeah,
Katavi Street. But they'll come in and they will work for every pass rush. Yeah, I mean they're just tough and scrappy and hardcore. When Marinelli was in Dallas, for example, of course he had Tank Lawrence, but there were some guys like Malik Collins and David Irving when he wasn't, when he was actually playing on the field. Who you would say, where did these guys come from? They're all just supplying so much pressure, and you would look them up, and they weren't first round picks and they weren't second round picks. They would just get he got the most out of those guys, and I think that D'Amico and Chris Kucharek do a great job of getting the most out of that defensive line. Obviously, they do have talent in Bosa, and Kinlaw blocked the field goal, and those guys are tough, but they were also a little bit beat up. So they were out there, nursing injuries or coming back from injuries and playing pretty hard. So a lot of credit to the 49ers and what they did to hang in the game and get some pressure in the second half. We mentioned the tight ends not being involved, and I still think it's kind of fascinating that that their reps were almost identical between Ertz and Goddard. They got to figure something out there, something that makes sense.
Yeah, and this is what you and I, when we were talking about Ertz, was he going to come back or not? It just, our own analysis was, how are you going to make this work? Yeah, it's not a secret they were going to turn the position over to Goddard. And I don't know. I don't have a real good, Gannon's defense I totally see. I think we've got that down. But the offense, I don't know what it is. I thought it's still sort of West Coast feel. But because this is such a grab bag game, I don't know, are the tight ends going to be featured? We only have 2 games, and throughout the preseason, it's meaningless. Mm-hmm. I could tell you the tight ends were sure as hell involved in training camp a lot.
Sure.
So I don't know. I don't know what to think. This is pretty tough to figure out where Sirianni's going here with this off.
I tell you, in a game of missed opportunities, which we've talked about, there was a 3rd and 1 earlier in the game. It was actually the play where Brandon Brooks got hurt. All right. He got blown up a little bit because he hurt his shoulder, but that's not what killed the play. It was a 3rd and 1, and Miles Sanders got stuffed because they were in 13 personnel. And to the right of the right tackle, Lane Johnson, was Jack Stoll, then Dallas Goedert, then Zach Ertz. So the person Zach Ertz was supposed to block just got inside him and stopped and was able to stuff Sanders before he got the gain. And they had a punt, I believe. That was then became 4th and 1 or 4th and 2. So, they got to – you want Zach Ertz catching, you want Goddard blocking, but you also want Goddard catching. So you can't just throw Goddard in there to be a blocker when you're out in 12 personnel. You've got to be able to mix it up, but also rely that Zach's going to be able to block somebody.
Yeah. Also, and I stand by this, they ran the ball way too much. They just did. Last week, they had one of the highest pass run ratios in the first half in week 1 against Atlanta. It's between 66 and 70%. It depends on how you count some of those runs that they had from Hurts the first half. But this is just – it's fine. Sanders looked good, no question. Hurts, when he ran very well. Gainwell looked good. But the plays you cannot go into a game where no one has over 2 catches. That's embarrassing. I don't care what their excuse was. That's
I keep forgetting that. Nobody had more than 2 catches, huh? That's
let me when I say I'm being nice about it, the people that I spoke with were extremely critical of Sirianni. I can't repeat. Let's just say it was not nice.
All right.
And these guys know 2 of these guys I spoke to play in the league, and they're in scouting, advanced scouting, and they crushed the game plan. They don't know, these guys don't know each other. They don't work for the same team, and they're very critical. There was nothing there was no symmetry to the whole thing. It just was this, I don't know where. And I do give Sirianni credit for going on the record. I could hear it in his voice. He wasn't real happy with himself. We don't know exactly, because he wasn't going to reveal what plays he didn't like. But although he did kind of talk about after the 91-yard bomb completion, I could hear it. I could sort of read into it, like he wasn't real happy with the way the things were done after that. But that was on him. And, one more thing. We talked about several months ago about there was a consideration to bring in a senior offensive assistant. They ultimately didn't do it. Right. I really think Sirianni missed on that one. I think he needs some help.
Yeah, I mean, we outlined how a lot of first-year coaches who are also first-year play callers have both offensive and defensively have done that. They've brought in, and we know that Jim Bob Cooter is there, but he's really mostly working on, and plus he's never been a head coach, but he's there to work on
play caller
special projects. He has been a play caller, so I don't know. Maybe there's someone, but you would have liked like a Jim Caldwell type, someone who's been
exactly
both head coach.
That would have been
and
a great one,
caller.
Right? Yeah, Jim Caldwell been phenomenal. I'm sorry.
I was going to say. I'm just saying. I'm a big fan of Jim Caldwell.
Yeah, he would have been phenomenal. Someone who's called plays before,
right?
Been there, done that. He's the epitome of a senior offensive assistant.
Yeah,
I don't know, definitely. But I know it's only 2 games, but I just think that having that guy, Kevin Stefanski added Kevin Rogers, his close friend, who's been a mentor of his. It doesn't necessarily have to be anyone who's worked with before. But generally, you do bring in someone who's worked with before, but just someone who could be another set of eyes or give you some wisdom. I know Patullo's his guy, and I know people speak very well of him. Our Jet sources really liked Kevin when he was there. But just someone who's called plays before and been there and done that at the NFL level.
I can't disagree with you. All right, that'll wrap up the offensive review. Let's get into defense review. First, please go check out our friends at PHLSportsNation.com, enhancing the fans' experience with their coverage of Philly sports teams for the fan, by the fan. That's their motto. So please check out all of their great coverage at PHLSportsNation.com and find them on Twitter at PHLSportsNation. And we'll pause real quick for a word from our other great sponsors, including our friends at Sky Motor Cars. And of course, if you stop into Sky Motor Cars out there in Westchester, PA, tell them Adam and Geoff sent you. You will get a great deal. All right, speaking of a good deal, the Eagles played well defensively. I mean, anytime you only allow 17 points at home, or in an NFL game, you expect to win, expect your offense to do more. I have a few minor bones to pick. We'll get with that. But I'll start with your impression from your sources on just your overall defensive look.
Solid. It won't show in the numbers, but Javon Hargrave is a man. He's going to be, I hate to use the word special. That's too strong. But this guy's got it going on. I now see why we didn't see, I know he played fairly well in the second half of last year, but never like this. Like we saw in training camp. You and I were there, and we had heard from people. The reporters who were there saw it. He was just phenomenal. He's got great motor. He's built so low to the ground. He gets great leverage. He doesn't stop, and he gets in. He's got good short area quickness. And him and Cox, they really are forming a good tandem here. I'm a little bit concerned about the lack of depth in terms of experience depth behind those two guys, but they've got it going on. You'd like to see more sacks. Unfortunately, that didn't happen in this game, but they were relentless, particularly Hargrave. He also redirect versus run. One guy told me effort's incredible. And the other thing is they rarely move the Eagles D-line off the ball. And the big thing, you can't see this from TV tape really, but the way it was explained to me is the Eagles did a tremendous job, and clearly they play the rules very well. They were taught very well by Tracy Rocker, the D-line coach, and the Rawlitz, the young linebackers coach, and obviously Gannon. On the wide zone runs, they didn't get them like they got Detroit. They crushed Detroit on wide zone.
They usually crush everybody on wide zone.
Yes,
right.
they did a great job, man. I was not sure if they can do it. And you and I talked about this. We worried about the lack of size at linebacker. Well, guess what? It didn't really get them. The only time it really got them when it was. I'm sorry.
Screens kind of hurt them.
A little bit. But also on those long drives, 3, 4, 5 yards, they could not get off the field. That would be my bone to pick with them. For whatever reason, they got them a little bit on that. Their line got some push, but they didn't really they were never dominated at all. That this was their first test. The Niners have a good, not great offensive line, and the Eagles stood up. I give them credit. I mean, they're doing a good job. And the thing is, man, they don't blitz because it's almost like with this very tight zone that they're playing. It's like, hey, you're not going to score on us. We don't have to blitz. I don't necessarily agree with that.
That's my minor. I'm glad you brought that. It's a good segue. That's my minor bone to pick. Okay. I would say, and I kind of blasted Jim for this a couple of years ago in that Lions game. Was it the Lions game? They were up 21-0, and then who were they playing? Where it was Panthers. Panthers at home. They went up 21-0, and then wound up losing like 28-21.
Yes.
I could see as there was a 95-yard drive and an 87-yard drive by the 49ers, right? And just watching it, you felt like there were opportunities once you started to see the 49ers put it together and Garoppolo get into a rhythm where you say, okay, now I gotta pressure him a little bit. Now I got to show a disguised pressure, bring somebody from somewhere that he hasn't seen yet this game. And I didn't see that. In fact, there was write it down. There was a 3rd and 4 or 5 where Garoppolo just played pitch and catch with Debo for the first down. Yes. And that's what hit me and said, you know what? Like, you did nothing. You advertised zone for the entire drive, and they knew it was going to be there. And that's, you have a good receiver like Debo, and you get those like kind of those Y stick routes, I think they call them, or stick nods, where you just run to that, turn around and present yourself in the zone real quick, and bang, bang, it's there. When you have a veteran quarterback and receiver who are on the same page, that was an easy completion for them. And I just thought, wow, I mean, they're in the middle of an 85-yard drive, and you're kind of just allowing that to happen there and not trying to be the tempo setter. Like, I get the whole bend but don't break thing, but you also have to realize your offense has been struggling now for, ever since the second drive of the game. And you can't just assume that if you give up a touchdown, it's okay that your offense is going to go match them. So I would have liked to have seen JG in that position maybe do something that we've heard like he might do, which is not just motion after the snap, but bringing pressure from a spot that the quarterback is not expecting it.
Yeah, and they definitely doing disguise as we expected. They're doing that, but the thing that they're not doing, they're
not pressuring that.
Yeah, they're just not. We only have 2 games. Like, we're getting what we had said 6 months ago. We're getting zone defense. This is what we expected. This is what we're getting. But I know that it doesn't show in the stat sheet. They clearly got to. In fact, they got to Garoppolo so much early on. I think he was in his own head. He was missing easy throws. He didn't over route. Might have been number 6. I think the number was 6. The guy told me, he said 6 should have gotten the ball. He overthrew him for no reason. He just missed him. It seemed like the Eagles were in his head because they got so much pressure. Hargrave jumped with the snap and.
I dare him to tell me to say he was not offsides on that.
I know
because some other people looked at it that he was offsides.
Yeah. He just they got into his head early. He settled down a little bit, hit some throws. I just want to see more. I want to see. Can't you do zone blitz? Can't you do something?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. And again, I'm all about work your plan your work, but make an adjustment at some point when the offense is driving on you. And look, for as good as the Eagles played defensively, they allowed an 87-yard touchdown drive and a 95-yard, 97-yard touchdown drive. That's not good. That's just, there's no doubt about it. That means that an offense got comfortable and marched nearly the entire football field on you, not once, but twice. So at some point when that's happening, as a coordinator, you have to say, like, all right, I need to throw something a little bit different here.
I think the loss of Graham also hurt them because against the run, he's a pursuit player. And don't forget, in nickel sometimes they'll slide him inside more.
Mm-hmm.
So I think not having Graham clearly was a factor. And it's hard to adjust in game. But again, I just would have liked to see some pressure from the outside. They're a low blitz percentage team, only through 2 games. So that may change. Who knows? So I wonder, as we get to learn Gannon more, the thing that surprised us so far is the lack of pressure from the outside. I don't know. I don't know why, because we're not familiar. He's never called plays before, so we don't know why I know that the guy in that Matt Eberflus is not a big blitz guy.
Right.
Now Zimmer is obviously.
Yes.
Was or can be, but Eberflus maybe not as much. So I don't know. I'm trying to figure out Gannon is.
I think there's a method to the madness here. We know the Eagles aren't blessed with great coverage guys, especially at the linebacker level. We know that George Kittle caught 15 passes on 15 targets last year. Obviously, if you're going to blitz one or two guys, you're going to leave one-on-one matchups for some of the guys that are going to be difficult for them to match up against, Kittle being one of them. By not blitzing, Kittle only had 4 catches on 4 targets, by the way, so he's 19-19 now.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. But by not blitzing, sure, you didn't get killed by Kittle. You didn't get killed too much in the screen game. You didn't get killed over the top by Ayuk or Debo over the top. I totally get that. I'm not sitting here saying blitz for the sake of blitzing. I just think that at some point you got to make an adjustment when when an offense is comfortable, and Jimmy G started to get comfortable in the second half. It's your job to make him uncomfortable. That's
I agree.
So we'll see and it's just 2 weeks, so we'll see if things change going forward. And we'll keep the one thing that's going to be interesting, Adam, is that both Atlanta and San Francisco, by nature of what they do, played a lot of 12 personnel, played some 21 personnel, some 13 personnel. So that has forced the Eagles to probably be in more base defense in the first 2 weeks than they ever expected they were going to be. Jannard Avery is out there way more than I thought I would see Jannard Avery out there for most of the year. But now you're going to play Dallas. They're going to spread you out. They've got their weapons. They're not going to do too much fullback, multiple tight end I would think, because Kellen Clemens wants to throw the ball around. I'm sorry, Kellen. I always do that. Kellen Moore wants to throw the ball around. So I think you'll probably see a little bit of a different philosophy and formation variation from Gannon going into the game.
Yeah, Avery actually played more snaps than Sweat. That goes to your point that they're dropping Avery as the inbox. The guy drops in the box to help against the run to play a 5-man front.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I like to see Avery get a chance to rush a passer. I'm a little bit perplexed. I need to dig on this and a little bit more and get more information about why these guys aren't pressuring more. Though they've been stingy. Look, they're playing very good defense overall. But as you said, and it's so true, to get ball controlled twice like that and to give up those long drives, that's not good. Mm-hmm. It's going to be hard now with Graham gone for the season. We'll have a little bit more on this on our Friday show previewing the game against Dallas because Dallas has got an awesome offensive line. Still very good. I'm very curious to see how they're going to attack now without Graham because it's a brand new world. This is going to be a change for Gannon. This is a big challenge for him.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Secondary, I thought held up pretty well. I thought the pass interference on Harris was a little ticky-tack, but I guess he had his arm around the one in the goal line, right? He had his arm around him. But my only gripe, I guess, would be that, Steven Nelson's got to pick that ball off, man. It was thrown right into his hands. I thought it was Slay, and I accidentally said Slay the other night when we were on the Fanatic, but Steven Nelson's got to get that.
There were a lot that I don't have an answer for this. I kind of need to check into it. One person said there were a lot of passes hit to the left. They were completed. It wasn't just the Debo Samuel. It just seems like a lot of players were catching, a lot of Niners pass targets were catching on the left. I don't have an answer for it.
Probably that's because Debo lines up at X a lot. So that's where the bigger
maybe
target
so. Right. Yeah. Maybe so. Debo got him on some in breakers, not all the time though. Mm-hmm. Like he did against the Lions. It was ridiculous. It was like pitch and catch, like throwing a Nerf ball. Garoppolo to Debo against Detroit. Like Detroit never adjusted. Here, I give Gannon credit. He kept the team in the game like that. He's going to have to figure out what happened on those sustained drives. Why they got ball control like that. Mm-hmm. The Eagles only had 55 plays on offense, which is not good. There's just so much. I'm just so curious about how they're going to attack Dallas because Dallas. They played pretty good defense, considering all the guys that they have out, and they don't really have much as a pass rush. That's why they used Parsons as a D end in that game, who played very well. I'm just so curious about these matchups. This is going to be a fun game Monday night.
No doubt about it, and we will preview that game on our next podcast that will drop Friday, 6 a.m. And then you can all come join us at the block party. It's free in Fishtown in front of Evil Genius Beer Company there on Front Street. Come join us, have some fun, watch me, Adam, Quentin, Michael, talk some football. And if you can't make it, you can see it. Are we live streaming? I think we're going to live stream it. Yeah, on the YouTube channel. 11 a.m. is the start time, and we're going to have a blast.
Questions? Should we take some questions?
we will take questions probably from the crowd of people who are there.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll
Cool.
do that.
Okay. Great.
And listen, there's going to be axe throwing there. So hopefully not at us. Hopefully it'll be at some kind of
Trot there. He could do it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, right? They're going to hang up like a Cowboys jersey and people are going to be able to like tear that thing apart.
Yep. We should get Dave Spadaro to spit on the star. Do you remember that?
You can get that guy fired, man.
No, remember? I talked to Joe Banner about that years ago. That's a great story. Did we talk to Joe about that on the air? He'll talk. I'm sure he'll talk about it. That was stunning. I'm sure there was just so we haven't had Joe on in months, but that was. I know Eagle fans loved it, but the hatred. It is crazy. Before we get out here, it is crazy. They're Dallas fans at Philly. How the hell does that work? How does that work?
I don't know. There are Dallas fans in North Jersey too. There are Dallas fans in
They're everywhere.
Connecticut. I
know.
I just don't get it. I don't know. Is it because they were a good team in the 70s and I don't know.
Well, I know this.
I can't figure it out.
I know this. I have some friends that could not take they purposely not like the Eagles because there was too much hype on them. Mm-hmm. So they were like, pick another team. I understand, but why did you have to pick Dallas in that star? Oh, no. Pick any team.
Yeah, I mean, couldn't you be a Seahawks fan? Nobody would care if you were a Seahawks fan, right?
No, remember I don't know if you're old enough to remember the show called What's Happening? When
please. It was one of my favorite shows.
Okay. Do you remember why? I think was it Dwayne who picked was that his name? The character picked the Buck. It was like the Buccaneers. He picked the helmets with a Buccaneer on it or something.
Oh no, I don't remember that one. Why? What was the reason?
I just remember him. He looked like the colors. I think he said.
Yeah, because they were really ugly, right?
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Colors.
I'm sorry.
They were putrid colors. He must have liked the fact.
I don't know. I think he said Bucks. Correct me, folks, if I'm wrong. If you recall, I just remember that episode's ridiculous. Maybe he's picking games right, but anyway, we're looking forward to that, and then also Monday night, 5 to 7 p.m. as you said, our pregame show then, and we got our stuff straight. We appreciate and apologize, folks who are there trying to watch the show, and then watch it live, obviously on the stream. We got this stuff straight now. We'll be fine. And stay tuned. And also, isn't there something else? Is there another new show coming out? You got a little fantasy thing coming out? Did I see that?
Yeah, with Andrew DeCecco. He's going to start doing a weekly video on. He's our resident, as well as you, but Andrew also is our resident fantasy football.
He's good,
expert.
Man.
So he's really smart. So Thursday, that'll be dropping on our YouTube channel as well. It'll be called ITB Fantasy Football Show with Andrew DeCecco. So look for that to be dropping on YouTube. Absolutely. Thanks for reminding me about that. I wanted to get that information in. All right, that's going to do it for this episode of Inside the Birds, the leading podcast in Eagles Intel. A big thank you, as always, to our producer, Hunter Brody. Check out his work on YouTube. His channel is called Sports Talk with Broads, and you can find his work on broadsmedia.com and @Broads81 on Twitter. And, of course, we thank you, as always, for flying with us inside the bird.